23rd of October. So much is going on. So many people are really trying to have their voices heard. And today we have invited for you Bassem Bouguerra. And Bassem Bouguerra, he's really an activist in Afkar Mustaqilla. I won't say more, but I will let Sumaya then continue with this. So
Yes,
over
thank
to
you.
you, Sumaya.
Thank you, Madam Hayat. Welcome, Bassem Bouguerra, to our studio. So, Bassem, you describe yourself as a revolutionary by nature and a software engineer by accident, right? So, a Tunisian activist living in San Francisco, California, working as a software architect at Yahoo. You are also one of the most famous Arab bloggers, and you are currently involved in Afkar Mustaqilla, which is a project supporting independent candidates for the upcoming elections in Tunisia. Years ago, you dropped out from the Académie Militaire to go to Southern California, and we start from there. So, can you tell us about your experience in the US?
So you start with a flashback
Yeah.
to the US. Okay, where you started from, Bassem?
Okay, so my journey in the U.S., right? Is
Yeah.
that the question?
Exactly.
Started in 2001, and I went back to school, and
You mean you dropped before going back to school?
no, well, because what happened was after the 3 years in the academies, they asked me to almost start everything all over again.
Mhm.
Kind of, it's almost as I just graduated from high school.
Mm-hmm.
So I basically started again and decided to choose computer science and studied, got my degree, and then I started working in the computer science field, then blogging, then activism,
Mm-hmm.
and
Then
yeah, it's
coming
all
to-
history now.
Yeah.
A lot of details, within those big milestones, but that's the big picture.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay, Adnan?
Yeah, I'd like to ask you about this experience. After studying in the US, what are the things you think should be integrated into our educational system in Tunisia?
Very good question. Also, I won't go into details, but
Mhm.
in general, the problem that we have in Tunisia is there's a huge gap between universities and the workforce,
Mm-hmm.
between what's needed as the skill set needed for employers and what we form as the next employees.
Yeah, are you just talking about computer science or?
You know
All-
what?
all
I'll-
different fields.
I'll
different
talk
field.
about computer science because
Mhm.
I know that in
Yeah.
my experience.
Yeah.
So also there's a different problem is we focus a lot on theory when
Mhm.
it comes to education in Tunisia. So we memorize equations, we memorize theories, and
But we forget about
we
practice.
will have absolutely no idea where to use those theories or those equations. And that's very different in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
In the U.S., they start with the real world problem, and you see the problem, you understand what your final goal is, and then you go backwards, and then you kind of figure out how to solve that problem while you're studying the theories that they make you memorize here in Tunis. So I think the way I see things progressing in Tunis, I think we really should focus on more pragmatic ways of teaching things,
Mm-hmm.
and be in touch with the industry, not just the local industry or the national industry, but the international market. Because at the end of the day, especially when we're talking about computer science, there are no borders. There's just everything is connected, and yeah, that's how I see it.
Right. Let me go to another issue. In 2008, you started it because you are a blogger, and you started a blog that you co-wrote with your mother. The blog was eventually censored. So tell us about this. Why was it censored, and how did you start this initiative?
Okay. I can't tell you why exactly it got censored because there's no way
We
for
could
us to
not.
know
We
that.
could, you know.
But I can maybe sense why it got censored. What we did was we actually, aside from my blog, we created a website called the tn-elections.com, and we wanted, it was in 2009 during the elections, and we wanted to have it as a aggregator for everything elections related, where people can post blog articles, videos, pictures, etc., etc. And I think I might have rubbed the guys here on the wrong side. So they might have noticed me then. So they censored that website right away. And they might start, okay, who's this guy? And they got into my blog and maybe. And also, the week it got censored, I posted a blog about Fatima Arbika, the blogger who got arrested back
Yes.
then. And we created a collaborative video with pictures of all the bloggers back then, with holding a sign saying "Free Fatima." So also that might have helped in the decision
Right.
of censoring my blog, and I got censored the week of the elections of 2009.
Your mother also took part in this blog. Tell us about this.
Yeah.
As well.
So my mom was I was the crazy kid writing and and saying all the I have a
And she was supporting your craziness?
that's the thing.
Good mother.
That's the thing. I had a
That's the
very
role of a mother.
yeah, I have a very uncensored pen. Which what I'm trying to say by that is I used to speak freely, and my mom was trying to create a balance in our blog, so it didn't look like a blog just got created to bash the government. So we do a lot of other things like Hakayat Hanani, the history, the stories of Hanani. She was the Hanani.
The
So
So
storyteller.
you were
Right.
using propaganda. That's
So-
where-
yeah,
Excuse
so
me.
she also was trying to play the devil advocate. Every time I write a post that's a little bit more aggressive, she would comment by saying, no, maybe not, maybe you should think this, maybe you should think so.
But wasn't she ironic when she was doing this?
If you don't know, if I know her, so yeah, I think
Ah.
it's pretty ironic, and she's
Yeah.
just playing that game. But if you don't know her, if you're
You would believe that.
yeah, you'd be like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, this blog is not.
She's right.
Yeah. So we kind of sort of playing that game
But did
to
the
keep
government
the
believe
blog
that?
uncensored.
Yeah.
But we failed at the end, and it was.
They didn't believe you.
I think at the very end they're like, this guy is shady, and you just don't like his blog and just got censored.
And what
so.
about your dad? Did he have a position on your cyber activism?
Did my dad have a position in my cyber activism? He was not very happy. Yeah.
So you cannot talk about a family.
And my uncle and my aunt and my grandfather,
They were afraid of you.
just like any other dad, he thinks that he's one of the he believes that change should come from within, and just being from the outside and bashing the government, it won't take us anywhere. Just the vast majority.
So he was the
He's more
wise voice of the
conservative,
family.
the wise, yeah, back then, in quotes, the wise, the conservative, the less crazy person. Let's put it that way. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah,
Sumaya.
in December you were in Tunisia actually, and you left shortly before the former president was ousted. Then you went back to the U.S. and you staged protests there. Is that right?
Right.
Okay. Tell us about your anti-government activism in the U.S.
It was since 2008. Let's put it that way. It was more on the virtual world, or in the virtual world, and it has moved to the ground mainly in January. And what I did back then was organized a protest on January 11th. That's when things got really, really bad.
Right.
And we mobilized, the Tunisian community in San Francisco, we mobilized our American friends to send emails and letters to the congressmen and women, ask them to take position in the Congress against the Tunisian government, and ask them to stop killing peaceful protesters.
You did this in San Francisco, and we did this in Washington D.C. and Virginia.
Nice.
Right.
So exactly.
Yeah.
So
So we have two activists
Yeah.
here.
we thought we could put pressure on the Tunisian government that way. So we also asked our friends to keep calling their congressmen and congresswomen until we hear a statement from Congress denouncing the brutality from the Tunisian police forces and the Tunisian government.
Actually, you came back in March to help in the process of rebuilding the country. What was your vision for the new Tunisia?
I just Adnan, if you allow me, before you go to Adnan's question, I have something about your activism in the U.S. We heard rumors, you know, about the Tunisian community in the U.S. and maybe possibility for them to enroll on the electoral lists and problems to maybe enrolling, and there was not enough information, you know, going around about the elections, etc. What is the situation like? If you can give us maybe a brighter picture of this.
Okay, so I haven't heard these rumors, but what I can tell you is I can tell you about my personal experience.
Right. Yes, please.
I went back to the States a month ago, or a month and a half ago, for 2 weeks to get to take care of some of the stuff they were hanging there. And I tried to register to vote, and it was the most comic experience ever. They never pick up the phone, and emailed them, they never respond.
You're talking about the embassy.
The embassy.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I can, by saying they don't pick up the phone, I call them days, I call them early in the day, after around noon, and in the afternoon. They never pick up the phone. Sometimes someone picks up the phone and they say, "Hi, you need to talk to someone about the registering for the elections." "Ah, okay, hold on 1 second, I'm going to transfer you," and they'll transfer me, and then it just goes to a dead end. And then a friend of mine, this was the early stage. Actually, what they had in mind was they would need Tunisians to go physically to the Tunisian embassy
From
in
San
Washington,
Francisco
In
to
Washington,
Washington,
yes,
Yeah,
because
to
it's
physically go and register because of quote unquote
they
security.
don't figure the distance,
Yeah.
do they?
from San Francisco
And,
to Mass Avenue. That's a
Right, and then they changed it.
Long
Like,
trip.
it was, I think, I think it was like a week before the first deadline. When was the first deadline for the
I think it
register?
was the 14th.
Something like that. So it was
Yeah.
the first week of July. Was it July?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the 14th
I think there was
of
something
July,
like
I guess.
less than 20 people registered to
Oh.
vote in the States, the whole United States. So it was very comical picture. And then I think they changed it in a way. And then I was here, so I didn't really follow the details, but I think something like you can register by email or via email. But from previous experience with the Tunisian embassy, it's a joke.
We heard also of an initiative by young people in the United States who tried to maybe set up a website so that people can, you know, register the names on those websites, and apparently it was not recognized.
Yeah,
and,
and I understand the concerns by having just civilians creating a website and allowing people to vote
that's the role of
because
the
of
government.
security and how can they verify the identity. But at the same time, you cannot just say, "No, I don't want this," or "I won't use this." The answer should have been probably, "Well, let's figure out a solution together. You guys have the skills, you have the time, you have the dedication. Let's work together and come up with a solution where we can verify the identity of the people to register,
Right.
and also, you know, it's just easy to use." But I don't know what would happen.
But
Do you
the
have-
same, yeah.
Do you have an idea about how big is the Tunisian community in the U.S.?
We don't
heard
have.
that
We
the
don't
figure
have
is about 2 million.
No.
200,000 maybe people
200,000 probably.
in
It's
the whole
much
United
less
States.
than that.
Mhm.
I don't have the exact numbers, and we don't have. I don't think we have official numbers. Also, every time we just hear different numbers, but
Yeah.
we don't know.
But Sam, have you told the Ministry of Foreign Affairs about what you have just said?
How am I
Have you
going to do that?
emailed them?
You think I'm going to walk in the door to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs? Hey, hi, my name is Bassem
Yeah,
Bougara.
but there should be a way to
I mean, I can't
to
even
change
talk
the system.
to. We're in Tunis, and I realize how things work here, and I'm very. How do you say that? I'm very pragmatic about things that I want to do. I know. All right.
Does pragmatic mean pessimistic? Are they synonyms?
Pessimistic? No, no, no. I'd rather use the little energy that the energy that I have in things that I have
So you were
control
going
over.
to say that I had instead of
That
that I have.
The things that I have control over, versus I had talks before with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and I have a little story about this. I work in the Silicon Valley. I work at Yahoo, and there is a big Arab community in the Silicon Valley. What they're trying to do is they're trying to take jobs and ship them back to the Middle East. Egypt is very active. Jordan is very active, and they were very active. Every time there's a meeting, every time there's a convention, you see someone from the Egyptian embassy, you see someone from Jordan. The Queen of Jordan came one time, and a total absence from the Tunisian side. I called people, hey guys, there is a way for us to get, we have people within
A great
the
potential.
community.
Yes.
Even there, like we have people from the industry, and we can figure something out and how we can ship jobs there. And it was total silence. And then I looked at the Chamber of Commerce in Washington, D.C., and that was also a big joke.
The Tunisian American.
Yeah, or in the Tunisian American. It's called
Tunisian American Chamber of Commerce.
yeah, there's Tunisian American Chamber of Commerce, and there's another thing called Tunisian American Cultural Center or something like that.
Community center. Probably.
Oh, there's the other joke too. But
Yeah.
there's also it's a comedy central over
Wow.
there. But it's so I've done that route of calling the ministry and trying to call people for. But it's
So now
just-
you're using the blogging.
So yeah, now I just.
You're just blogging to try to solve the problem or to
Okay,
change things.
no, so yeah, but even my blogging is different now. Before I used to blog in Tunisian to Tunisians
Yeah.
about the problems. Now I have a different mission
Which is-
for my blogging, which is blog in English for American audience, or for audience that is outside and
American or English speaking
English
audience.
speaking, yeah,
Mhm.
English speaking audience who wants to know what's going on in Tunisia
Mhm.
and wants to get news from within, from people actually living the
Mhm.
situation, because I've experienced it when I was in the States and I was watching the news about Tunisia, and things were very distorted from the reality.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the first thing when I came here. I was like, oh my God, it was like
You
it
have
was
to
really a
straighten
shock.
something. Yes.
It was a shock for me.
Mm.
Yeah.
Even like I wrote a paper at Stanford about the revolution, how it's this and that, and then because in my view of revolution when I was in the States in those few months was from the news and from Facebook, so I was a very distorted image of it. And coming here and seeing the ground and seeing what things happening here, I was like, no, something. They need to know what's really going on,
Right.
because outside I think we've done a very successful revolution. Everyone is happy, the job is done, and who's next? And I want to make sure that actually to tell people actually no, there's huge work that needs to be done, and yeah, so that's the mission of my blogging. So I don't really address officials with my blogging. I don't really address Tunisian government with my blogging. That's not what I'm trying to do here.
Yeah.
Just give a picture of what's going on the ground.
Actually, Sam, you came back in March to help rebuild the country. What was your vision for a new Tunisia after March, starting from March?
Huh. And also that image also changed dramatically.
This is the pessimistic tone.
Change on change in the country is a big word. What I'm trying to say here.
Mhm.
I'm trying to do here. I came to help and offer my help to anyone who needs my help. I had ideas when I came here. What I wanted to do is I was very impressed.
You're always speaking in the past.
I
You
always-
said I had ideas.
yeah,
Do you
we're
still
coming
have
to the
these
present.
ideas?
We're coming.
still have-
No, I
Yeah,
don't-
because
I
if you
don't
come to the
have-
present, that's fine.
Maybe
Otherwise,
you
I
have
don't
the
have those
ideas,
ideas.
but not the
I have new
hopes.
ideas.
okay, that's fine. If you have new ideas, that's
Yeah, I'm
fine.
going to talk about the transitions
Uh-huh.
that happened
Right.
in my ideas. I had big ideas of. I was very impressed with what we call the e-governance in the States. Use internet for communication, for two-way communication between the government and the civil society, and I was a big fan of it. And I thought actually we can do it in Tunisia. Why not? We have the skills, we have the dedication, we have the desire, we have quote-unquote version country. We can build anything we want in it. Let's do it.